Hey guys, thanks for watching Film for Thought. I'd like to apologize in advance. We had a little technical issues with our audio and our video. We were able to recover this clip from episode 13 talking about our writing process and directing actors. Hope you enjoy this clip. Thank you. Getting back into the conversation though, of talking about capturing those specific moments. Um, I feel like a really big reason why I got into art. Before I used to write a lot. I used to write short stories or just
Mm-hmm.
little poetry things that really were like its own thing,
Okay.
and share that with people. When I started sharing that with people, I got really emotional reactions from them.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend that I sent it to. I was like, hey, I wrote this little thing. I was wondering if you want to read it or not. And they called me crying. They're like, that was beautiful. And I
Wow.
was like, I feel like that was a really big moment when I realized that I just didn't want to write for myself, but I wanted to write for others, and capturing those small moments. And it's what you talked about with Naruto. It's yeah, it can sound like a dumb answer, of course, but at the same time, it's I hear the theme song on Naruto, I want to go and do weights. You know what I mean? It's I
Literally.
have such a drive in me because of these universal characters that just come in and then just want to, and they just there's such an intoxicating feeling of motivation in them
There
that
is
you just and then capturing those things, it's motivation, or some characters that just give off specific
passion.
passion, or individual emotions
Mm-hmm.
that evoke from the audience. That's what I want to do. It's want to be able to give these emotions to inspire or sadden, and give despair, or make them feel make good about themselves, and that sort of regard. And that's what I want to do. It's I feel like that's what every writer wants to accomplish with their writing.
Agreed. And I've had similar experiences with my writing where, like you, people calling me. Like, I used to be really shy with sharing. I still am. I still am very, shy with sharing my writing just because, like you were saying, you're yourself, your biggest critic. I am my biggest critic as well. And it's interesting whenever you get to share a piece of your art with someone, especially when it's a short story. It's something creative more than anything, because nonfiction could be a little different. But I don't know. It's it's interesting. I don't know how I would describe the feeling or just the experience of sharing your story with someone and that person reacting emotionally to it. Um, like you said, that is over. Like that is the outcome that we want as writers.
Yeah.
But talking a little bit more about that experience, getting more into depth about that experience, like how does it feel? Like just being able to connect with someone in that level, like how do you think I don't know. How does it make you feel? Because we can talk about how it makes the other person feel, and how we've been talking about praise and all of these things. Like,
Yeah.
how is How is that experience for a writer? For example,
Um.
for yourself.
Yeah. Especially being a screenwriter,
Mm-hmm.
and that being the field that I'm sort of getting into. Um, a script. Nobody reads a script.
Yeah.
Nobody. Most people don't even know the format of a script. Comparatively speaking to a novel, prose, things like that, poetry,
Mm-hmm.
haikus versus whatever. But
Haikus. I can't.
it's just different forms of writing that are meant to be written.
Of
But it's
course.
screenwriting is words that are meant to go on screen.
Yeah, they're visual.
Yeah, it's visual works. And I it's a very weird sort of it thing to explain, because it's very different from sharing, for example, my poetry or my short
Mm-hmm.
stories, than sharing that, because nobody's gonna actually, some people are gonna see an iteration of that on screen. And um and then for getting how I feel when people see my work on screen, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I feel like a lot of filmmakers get asked that question. I I was very curious to see how I felt when people started watching it. I felt nothing.
I
I
get
was
that.
so emotionally exhausted from the making. It's just the year and a half it took me to
Mm-hmm.
make this, that
Mm-hmm.
by the time it released, I just got drunk.
My
And then
God.
woke up the next day to a bunch of people texting me. And it's yeah, a bunch of good or bad things, and all this mix. But at
Mm-hmm.
that point, I am such a critic of myself that I was like, everything bad that they already said, I was like, yeah, 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 yeah,
You
yep,
that
yep.
was already in your head.
Yeah, it's like, it's like I had like the phone call as soon as I released my movie. I released my movie like a couple hours before for my family, like
Mm-hmm.
half a day before for them. And then I got a call from my parents, and my mom was like just praising it and stuff like that. And my dad was too. Then my dad was like, "Oh, I have one point of interjection,"
Mm.
and then and then I was like, bring it, I want to hear it, I want to
We
hear it.
love the
And
family
then it was like,
critics.
yeah, I won't go too in the depth about what he said
Okay.
because of but he was talking about a specific way something was made,
Mm-hmm.
um not something I could have personally controlled. And
Understand.
then I was like, and he was talking about a scene specific, and something that was said in that scene, and I was like, oh, I know. I was like, because I I was like, because like, and I just reminded me, like, there's a scene in my movie, I won't say which, that I spent like 3 or 4 weeks alone in the editing room.
Really?
Yeah, just doing and redoing because I couldn't find it. Like, it was like, it was something. I just don't want to say too much because of don't want to hurt anybody's feelings,
I mean, who
or
cares?
just in general critiquing. But it was a line. Oh, fuck, I'll get into it.
Exactly. That's what we're here for. We need
Yeah,
to.
it was the way an actor said a line.
Oh, okay.
And then my dad was like, I my dad was just like, it was weird how they said that line. And I was like, I know. I like, and I know, I just reminded myself of being in the editing room, like just sitting there. There was a point where I literally just laid down in the editing room, like on the floor, and I was like, I guess I gotta switch to finance.
My
Like, it was
God.
that bad. Like, it was
My
like I
God.
couldn't find a way to do it. And then the only way I was able to find to do it was like I literally had to like duct tape audio together, just like from another scene that that same actor said the same line, and then just dub it over and elasticize it to cover like the sink of the mouth.
You see, like, now that you're telling me all of this, like,
It's like, it was a really good thing because I learned how to do that. Of course, it
Mhm.
was still not natural because, like, eventually you just expect the actor to do that themselves.
But as a watcher, as a viewer, I'm sorry, I cannot tell. Like, definitely, I could not tell.
Yeah, and it's
So,
like, and it took like, and it was funny because it was like it was a line that took like 2 seconds to make.
yeah, it was something so simple,
Yeah,
like
it was
something
like
really
so
simple.
It was like a reaction, and it's
Yeah.
like, and that was like had to be said in a specific way to
Mhm.
sort of signify how they felt.
Of course.
And the actor couldn't just they just couldn't do it. I feel like they just didn't understand. And
Which is fine because
I mean, you also like working with actors that are being paid and actors that are being unpaid. Very
Exactly.
different experiences.
Of course, of course. There's
So I can't. I mean, I can't complain.
Of course, and like, as having watched the film, I could definitely say that both actors. It was not only two actors. There's more. I think
Yeah.
there was like around 4 or 5, something like
Yeah.
that. They all did a magnificent job.
Yeah,
But
no, I love all of them. Jasmine, Grace, and Kebron. Like, praise to them. Thank you for
Yes.
showing up,
shout out to all
taking
of you.
your time. Appreciate it so much. Being characters.
Yes. But it's interesting also seeing how now this is something else we can get into is just how the people you work with, like example, actors or other artists, people working in the set, how they interpret your script and how they interpret the work. Like obviously, you as a director, you hold the complete creative power. But with actors, I know it's a difficult, not a difficult experience or relationship between the director and an actor. It's just something that needs to be worked on a lot. So how was your experience as a director, just working with actors and trying to direct them in like the perspective or the way you were seeing your script moving?
I've been thinking about that a lot because like I went into my project and I was already wearing so many hats. Like, I was wearing the producer cap, and I was like helping DP the thing, and also like I had like really good experience lighting because like I have a background in photography, and it's like do all these things, and it's like, and I also like line my own script and have the shot list and stuff like that. So the entire logistics of the project were in here, and and like doing that, I honestly completely forgot the part of directing actors.
Wow.
Like, I just like, it was just something that I just like I completely blew over, and I feel like a lot of student projects also completely just like
disregard.
You were on default mode. That's
Yeah,
what you were
and
on.
then that was like, I feel like it was like the first scene we shot on the first day that the actor asked for some feedback from me,
Okay.
and then I was like, I forgot completely that I have to direct an actor right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then like this entire summer of being in an actual set and like seeing the director does nothing but sit there, look at what's being shot, see how the actors are saying their lines, and then direct the actor. All the director does is direct the actors in the real world.
Yeah.
That's how projects are.
Yeah.
Everything else is left up to like the crews and the first AD to direct everybody and run that show.
Yeah.
And I feel like getting back into like having somebody read your work
Mm-hmm.
and like the critique and stuff like that, especially like the good critique that you didn't expect, and now it's like something like, wow, fresh eyes, like I'm able to like see this in a new light. Kebron especially, he played Charles in Roadside Bridge.
Yes.
He was so poignant in his like asking and so like intuitive, and I learned a lot more of the character that fuck I wrote by him asking the questions and how he was gonna perform it, and then him being like, what's his motivation in regards to this, and how would he say that line if this is how he felt, and like how, and we had a meeting with all the actors and with the crew, like a screen reading, or what is it, a table reading, I'm pretty sure it's called,
Yeah.
before, like having them rehearse and then just tweaking things here and there. That's actually where I started directing the actors, like before, but it's because like that was what I was focused on, but I didn't realize that on set, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you were just giving them like you were giving them guidance, and on set you
Yeah.
just
But yeah, by the second day of the shoot, I sort of picked back up, and I was like, okay, director mode.
This is what I
this
want.
is what I want. This is how you sort of like, this is what you're feeling, this is what you're thinking. Yeah, and it's, I feel like that's where writers that are also directors, I will say, get their real feedback from.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
it's like you get them to the actor because this is what they do. You know, it's like they try to embody these characters and embody beyond the things they say. You know, the subtext of what's carried of these characters, their motivations, their like the reasons why they do it, the reasons why they do things they don't understand. You know.
Yeah, they're the carriers of your story, and like particularly with Roads Diverged, I feel like you were talking about Charles, you can definitely see how well that translated. Like you telling me about the fact that he was asking for advice or just asking questions about his character. When you can tell when someone is dedicated to their character and dedicated to understanding the psychology that goes to their character and their story, and it can be something really beautiful, and when it's well executed, um we're talking about it could possibly become like a very famous film. That's why the relationship between actor and director is so important.
Yeah, and like a lot of like high profile directors, like they have muses. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, Scorsese always used I'm blanking on his name. I can't remember the name of that actor. Robert De Niro.
Yeah, Robert. I was about to say.
Robert De Niro, and now he's like transitioning to using a lot of using Leonardo DiCaprio as like his main guy, and like there's a lot of pairings like that go into play.
Which is so interesting, like to think that there's people out there that can capture your artistic language and be able to execute it the way you want to.
Yeah, because it is hard to understand how people think artistically. It's such a fluid concept, and like artists are expected to distill it in a way that a lot of people understand. But you know, I feel like having, like, as an artist, not having your work being understood by a lot of people happens a lot. And like, but being able to have a person that can help you distill that into, you know, a translatable thing, you know, like that relationship is invaluable.
Yeah, and I think that in a way, like that relationship and the ability of that person to do that, and it transcends the value of your work in the sense that when someone else is able to understand it and you are working together in a set, that makes it better. Like I don't know how to describe it properly, but the fact that someone is like right in the same headspace that you are, and they're seeing what you're seeing, allows how can I say this? it just, again, how I was saying, it translates better to the audience because they see a clear like connection between the plot and the person who is interpreting that specific character, and it gives it life because
Yeah.
that's what you need overall in a film. You need life in order for it to be something that resonates with other people. And
Yeah, and like wrapping, like coming back into the sort of the topic of like having writers being able to translate their, their messages, and like talking about like people like that wrote Naruto, and the guy that wrote Berserk. It's like
Mhm.
those people take years to discover how they want to do things, and it's
Yeah.
like, and not every issue or not every version of their work is the most absolute polished thing, but overall you see the progression of development, and it's like the artist growing along with the way with the characters and the plot, and then like that sense of growth, you can see that, and it's
Yeah.
like, I feel like that's a lot of the reasons why film is such a collaborative business too. It's
Mhm.
because of, it's like you're able to execute this, yes, but it's like you also need a ton of hands to be able to do that, and the
You really
turnaround
do.
period has to be so short, like,
Yeah.
because it requires so many people to execute, so you have to do it in a short time frame, so it just becomes a very specific moment in time. Like
Mhm.
right after I released my project, I went back and watched my first short film that I made when I was a senior, and or it was like the summer between junior and senior year of high school.
Mhm.
God, massive change.